That's okay. I'm a money maker. That like button, man. I bet y'all thought I had everything I needed. Thought I had everything I needed. What they do? Ball out. My man ball out in the building early. I need to get some cups and shit, man. These boys is making a whole bunch of dishes. What it is? Are y'all familiar with So they supposed to been releasing some JFK files and some MK Ultra files, and the CIA raided, I think the girl named Tulsi Gabbard, and took them bitches. You feel me? Hold up, yo. What the fuck really going on, man? Yo, was that a play the whole time? Like, was they never ever going to release them documents, and it was just something that was said just to, you know, for political points? Cause don't CIA work under ain't they under Trump, or is they like a separate entity? Like how the fuck does that work? Like how did Trump order these documents to be released and then the shit gets stolen? You not familiar with MK Ultra? Basically, mind control. If I ain't familiar, I think that's what it was about. They said it was. They said it wasn't a real program. So that's not about MK Ultra. Before we actually get to what the fuck going on. See what the fuck MK Ultra is. We ain't never really go through that big bank interview. Has MK Ultra ever been used? Ever?
April 13th, 1953, CIA Director Alan Dulles gave a speech about the dangers of communism and the war of the mind. The federal government was haunted by the fear of communism and believed it spread rapidly at this time because the Soviets mastered the art of mind control. Sandwiched between the aftermath of World War II and the beginnings of the Cold War, intelligence agencies believed foreign brainwashing could indoctrinate the American people. As a result, a classified project was created to emulate the communist mind control programs, effectively fighting fire with fire. There are several speculations as to why MK Ultra began, but one fact remains. People in power justified pushing the boundaries of known science and warfare by committing human rights violations under the guise of intelligence. MK Ultra's clandestine tests took place in universities, hospitals, prisons, and pharmaceutical centers all across the United States and Canada. One of the most famous testing sites was the Allen Memorial Institute, or the Ravenscrag, at McGill University in Montreal. These top-secret experiments and procedures were led by Sidney Gottlieb, the United States spy master and mad chemist who financed and developed, quote, techniques that would crush the human psyche to the point that it would admit anything. MK Ultra was preceded by Project Bluebird and Project Artichoke, two projects originating in the 1940s. The goal of Project Bluebird was to train subjects through hypnosis and behavior modification so that it would be impossible for enemies of the United States to extract vital information. The goal of Project Artichoke was to examine if a human is capable of attempting an assassination without hesitation. Methods used include hypnosis, forced substance addiction, and forced substance withdrawal. MK Ultra, the final evolution of its 1940s predecessors, employed a variety of techniques to influence the minds and brains of its subjects, including the covert administration of high doses of psychoactive substances, in most cases LSD, also known as lysergic acid diethylamide, a powerful hallucinogen. This CIA project used a cocktail of chemicals and drugs such as barbiturates, amphetamines, and hallucinogens to put their subjects in a comatose state, while also violently snapping them back to reality. This was carried out by injecting a barbiturate in a subject's arm and then an amphetamine in the other, often resulting in death.
Dang.
One of the main scientists responsible for the horrific practices of MK Ultra was Dr. Donald Ewan Cameron. Cameron invented two medical torture techniques that were repeated until the unwilling subject's mind was effectively broken, though not all subjects received the same treatment or torture. First, Cameron utilized a technique known as psychic driving. Patients were frequently exposed to hundreds of thousands of repeats of a single remark, which would theoretically change their behavior. Then, the subject met the wrath of Cameron's second technique. Depatterning was the chronological successor to psychic driving, which is when the test subject undergoes massive doses of electroconvulsive therapy, combined with equally large doses of psychedelic drugs. One can only imagine what truly happened to some of these people, where they are now, and if they remember anything, if they survived.
Tell me about the acid.
They probably killed
I'd
me.
rather not. It's a bad trip. Bad trip. That was a bad trip. The pain was so excruciating. Felt like somebody was sticking me with 1,000,000 pins. You know, just everywhere.
Always testing on black people.
Oh, it just...
Dang. That's great.
What's up?
With any classified project, intelligence agencies across the globe go through every effort to stay hidden. One method of cryptic language used by the CIA is known as cryptonyms. A cryptonym is a code name or code word used by the CIA to reference operations, people, projects, or other agencies. All CIA cryptonyms that are now used online were used between the 50s and 80s, which means it is more than likely the entire system has been replaced. All that exists online are partial lists and probable definitions. There is no way to know for certain the exact meanings and extent of these declassified projects. Each CIA cryptonym has a 2-character prefix known as a digraph, which identifies a region or function. But over time, certain digraphs underwent changes. The Soviet Union digraph, for instance, underwent at least 2 changes. For example, in the 1950s, the Soviet Union was known as AE, but in the 80s, it was PD. The remaining words are either random dictionary words, cryptonyms that occasionally combine to produce dictionary words, like aeroplane, or can be read out as short phrases, like Wybather, which is pronounced why bother. MK Ultra is a cryptonym that denotes the following. MK equals TSS, or the Technical Services Staff, and Ultra being the highest classification of intelligence during World War II. There are plenty of unidentified cryptonyms, which lends itself to the fact that there is so much information kept from us, and we may never know it. Elizabeth Nixon is a Canadian writer and journalist who, in 1994, published the novel The Monkey Puzzle, an account of CIA brainwashing trials in Montreal during the 1950s and 60s. The height of MK Ultra. She explains that her mother was under the care of none other than Ewan Cameron. By this time, Cameron was head of the American Psychiatric Association. He had been a friend of Alan Dulles, who, if you remember, is the man responsible for the genesis of MK Ultra. In fact, they shared a long history together, dating back to the Nuremberg trials. In 1977, after President Ford's executive order, under the release of the U.S. Freedom of Information Act, Cameron was discovered to have conducted the most extreme mind control trials, employing massive amounts of shock treatments and drugs such as PCP and LSD. You may be wondering, did Cameron's extreme methods lead to the cure of cancer, or Alzheimer's, or anything? Well, according to journalist Sid Taylor, in an article from 1992, Cameron used a toxin known as Curare in order to debilitate his patients while conducting research. This toxin was used by South American natives to poison their hunting arrows. When applied to the body, it shuts down the neuromuscular system. The article continues by saying, although the patient was prepared by both prolonged sensory isolation, repeated depatterning, and recorded receiving 101 days of psychic driving, no favorable results were obtained. So as you can guess, this was around the time Dr. Cameron fashioned his own invasive forms of therapy, explained before as depatterning and psychic driving. Much of this information has only been disclosed relatively recently, since the CIA has admitted to funding human behavior control research at 150 institutions, including 44 universities and a variety of hospitals, prisons, and drug rehab clinics. Remember, these are just the ones declassified. In 1953, while attending a CIA retreat, a scientist working for the agency drank a cocktail that had been spiked with LSD. His name was Frank Olson. A few days later, on November 28, 1953, Olson allegedly committed suicide by falling from the window of a New York City hotel room. 41 years after his death, in 1994, Frank Olson's family decided to have a second autopsy performed. A forensics team discovered injuries on the body that were most likely caused before the fall. Following lengthy legal proceedings, Olson's family was awarded a $750,000 settlement and a personal apology from President Gerald Ford and the then CIA Director William Colby. And the person named for administering the LSD to Frank Olson was none other than Sidney Gottlieb, by this time known as the Black Sorcerer and Dirty Trickster. Ask yourself, if there was zero truth to the conspiracy surrounding Olson's death, why would the sitting president and CIA director give a personal apology? Why would the United States court rule to award Olson's family with what would almost be $9 million in today's money? One of the side effects of being a mad scientist like Sidney Gottlieb is being bald, which is why today's video is sponsored by Keeps. Keeps is an online subscription service that helps men keep their hair. They offer clinically proven treatments that help typically half the cost of pharmacy prices. 2 out of 3 guys will experience hair loss by the age of 35. Keep care and support. Each treatment hair Keeps has you covered. Rest assured that Keeps physicians will help. Hair loss stops with Keeps. To get 50% off your first order, go to keeps.com/Philion. Or just click the link down below. That's KEEPS. 1962 novel One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest volunteered for MK Ultra LSD experiments. Kesey later went on to promote the drug by hosting acid tests, which were LSD-fueled parties. These parties incorporated drug use with musical performances by bands such as the Grateful Dead, as well as psychedelic effects. These parties influenced the early development of hippie culture and sparked the psychedelic drug scene in the 1960s. The dichotomy of Frank Olson and Ken Kesey is, on one hand, you have a guy who could have been murdered by the CIA because of his involvement with their psychoactive drug testing, while another guy involved in similar testing went on to spark hippie culture. It wasn't just a good time for the hippies, though. Operation Midnight Climax was an MK Ultra project in which government hired prostitutes, enticed unsuspecting men to CIA safe houses across San Francisco, California, and New York City.
Look how dirty these people is. Yo, that's why this is why when a person side with the government, you are an enemy of the people, man. Listen to all these tests they running on motherfuckers, man. Ugh, crazy. They was linking niggas up with prostitutes and luring them into fucking test sites. The fuck? That's why you don't never work with these people. They dirty, man.
CIA would administer LSD through drinks or aerosols to the men and then observe their behavior while crushing a couple of cold ones behind a two-way mirror. It is noted that the program had little oversight and leadership. The agents involved admitted to a loose, party-like atmosphere where they themselves engaged with the prostitutes and used drugs. George White A CIA agent working under Operation Midnight Climax wrote to Sidney Gottlieb in 1971, stating, "Of course, I was a very minor missionary, actually a heretic, but I toiled wholeheartedly in the vineyards because it was
Fun, fun, fun. Where else could a red-blooded American boy lie, kill, and cheat? Steal, deceive, rape, and pillage, with the sanction and blessing of the All-Highest."
It would be sooner than later that the truth would be revealed, and the intelligence communities would be made to answer for their illegal and inhumane enterprise. You see, in 1972, the Watergate scandal triggered paranoia amongst Washington and the already weary American people. This led to newly
By all them
appointed
niggas.
CIA Director
Freaky
Richard
ass
Helms ordering all MK-Ultra files destroyed, coupled with anecdotal stories such as U.S. Army servicemen spying on civilians spread, eventually culminating in a New York Times article by Seymour Hersh in 1974. Seymour Hersh was already a well-known investigator, as he gained worldwide recognition for covering the Watergate scandal by exposing the My Lai massacre, for which he was awarded the Pulitzer Prize for international reporting. Many elected officials, journalists, whistleblowers, and investigators, like Seymour Hersh, were following a rat's trail that eventually led them to an entire den. Hersh's New York Times article claimed the CIA had violated its charter by spying on anti-war activists. His story is credited as a major factor in the establishment of the Church Committee, which was created to investigate illegal federal intelligence operations. However, it ended up taking the combined might of the Church Committee, Pike Committee, and Rockefeller Commission to find the truth of MKUltra, after discovering documents that failed to be destroyed in Helms's purge. These three forces would pressure not only the CIA, but the NSA, FBI, and IRS to answer for any wrongdoing or illegal activity. Thus, in 1976, 3 years after MKUltra was halted, Executive Order 11905 was drafted and signed by President Gerald Ford after the Church Committee and Pike Committee revealed classified information concerning the United States. This executive order would be an effort to outlaw, restructure, and reform much of the intelligence community, creating greater checks and balances to ensure that any and all activities are in conformity with the Constitution and United States laws. Even people to this day are still concerned that this was not enough justice, and that intelligence agencies still work above the law.
I haven't worried about it. Your question again, what would I have thought had I known that
Any of these substances would
have been given to
unwitting persons.
He dumb as shit.
a hostile agent of another government?
No, I mean,
think that was probably one of the things they had in mind.
testing it out on an American citizen.
I guess I must seem very, very cold-blooded about this, but I don't recall ever having been very much preoccupied with that issue.
The National Security Agency's capability at any time could be turned around on the American people, and no American would have any privacy left. Such is the capability to monitor everything. Telephone conversations, telegrams, it doesn't matter. There would be no place to hide. If a dictator ever took over, the NSA could enable it to impose total tyranny, and there would be no way to fight back. Frank Church, founder of the Church Committee. Today, MKUltra methods and stories have been glorified in pop culture. For example, the show Stranger Things is based off of the Montauk Project, which may not be true, but shares great similarities with MKUltra. Themes of mind control, manipulation, and tall men in suits coming to take you away. Another reference is The Truman Show, where, spoiler alert, Jim Carrey as Truman Burbank lives in a fake world constantly being manipulated, recorded, and probably drugged. On social media, conspiracy theorists believe prominent celebrities and figures such as Lady Gaga and Bill Clinton are speculated to have been affected by MKUltra hypnosis. Though this is from TikTok, so before your eyes melt through your sockets, we'll move on to an astronaut named named Heidi Marie Stefansson Piper, who fainted during a press conference, supposedly being hypnotized before she could reveal secrets on UFOs. Though these references to MK Ultra are enjoyable, they are loosely based in reality. A more modern and popular rumor that surrounds MK Ultra is whether or not cult leader Charles Manson was a byproduct of CIA psychoactive substance testing. I mean, you take one look at the guy and you know he's mentally boiled. There was also Ted Kaczynski, known as the Unabomber, who allegedly took part in a Harvard LSD study overseen by the CIA and professor at Harvard University, Henry A. Murray. Ted took part in intense mock interrogations designed to assess limits of psychological breaking points. From 1978 to 1995, the Unabomber would later go on to create increasingly sophisticated bombs and mail them out to people, resulting in 3 people being killed and 23 others injured. It begs the question, was this violence a result of the manipulation and arguable torture Ted endured? There is no way of knowing if the CIA has stopped all illegal domestic activity against civilians. MK Ultra may have evolved or rebranded itself, hidden deep within the CIA web, where no one would dare enter. One can speculate that CIA counterintelligence strategies have become more desperate and covert, adding to the fear that there may be some project out there worse than MK Ultra. After all, science and technology have only advanced since
that's how they be getting these motherfuckers to do them mass shootings and shit. Probably. So what is Project MK Ultra? Let's watch this.
So, what is Project MK Ultra? Imagine walking into a bar in San Francisco during the 1950s. You order a drink, chat with a stranger, and suddenly, your mind starts unraveling. Colors melt, time stretches, paranoia grips you. What you don't know is the CIA just spiked your cocktail with LSD. This isn't a movie. This is history. This is MK Ultra. The basics. At its core, MK Ultra was a secret program run by the CIA during the Cold War, officially starting in 1953. Its goal? To study mind control. The US government was terrified the Soviets or Chinese had figured out ways to manipulate human thoughts through drugs, hypnosis, or psychological torture. America wanted to get there first.
This is a war
This wasn't a small project either. It involved more than 150 sub-projects across universities, hospitals, prisons, and even brothels. Many of the people experimented on had no idea they were being used as test subjects. How it worked, the experiments. The CIA tested a cocktail of methods to see if they could break down and reprogram the human mind. Some of these included LSD, dosing people, sometimes volunteers but often unsuspecting citizens, with psychedelic drugs.
They say break down and reprogram the mind. Damn.
The CIA hoped LSD could be used as a truth serum, or even to erase and rebuild a person's identity. Hypnosis, attempts to control behavior and implant suggestions, sensory deprivation.
What class is LSD? What do the FBI? What class is LSD? Let's see. What is LSD classified as?
According to Wikipedia, lysergic acid diethylamide, commonly known as LSD and by the nicknames acid and Lucy, is a semisynthetic hallucinogenic drug derived from ergot, known for its potent psychological effects and serotonergic activity.
Is LSD a Schedule 1 narcotic?
According to drugs.com, list of common Schedule 1 drugs. According to U.S. federal law, no prescriptions may be written for Schedule 1 substances, and they are not readily available for clinical use.
Oh, so it is a Schedule 1. meaning it has currently no accepted medical use in the United States and high, but they use it though on people. Okay.
Subjects were locked in dark rooms or deprived of sound for days. Electroshock therapy, administered at high levels to wipe memory. Covert safe houses. In cities like San
What's up, brother?
Francisco, the CIA ran brothels where sex workers were secretly paid to lure men in. Hidden cameras filmed everything after drinks were spiked with drugs. One infamous case involved a scientist named Frank Olson, who was dosed with LSD without his knowledge. Days later, he fell to his death from a hotel window. His family believes it wasn't an accident. History/origins.
And they wind up
The
suing.
roots of MK Ultra lie in Cold War
So
paranoia.
that family wound up suing for $750,000 and won, and that was equivalent to $9 million in today's money. And it was an apology, so they really did that shit to yo. And the president issued an apology. These people are dirty, man. It's a dirty world, man. Trust nothing, question everything. Straight up.
After World War II, the U.S. brought over Nazi scientists through Operation Paperclip. Many of them had experience in human experimentation, and their knowledge fueled early CIA programs. At the same time, the Korean War stoked fears of brainwashing. American POWs appeared to confess to crimes or adopt communist beliefs, and U.S. officials panicked that the Soviets had some kind of psychological weapon. In response, CIA Director Allen Dulles approved MK Ultra in 1953. The program was placed under the control of a chemist named Sidney Gottlieb, sometimes called the Black Sorcerer.
Dang.
He became infamous for his willingness to test anything that might bend the human mind. Impact/legacy. By the 1960s and 70s, MK Ultra was sprawling across the country, but cracks began to show. Journalists and whistleblowers started asking questions. Then, in 1973, CIA Director Richard Helms ordered most MK Ultra documents destroyed. Thousands of files went up in smoke.
They're always destroying documents, man. These motherfuckers is crazy. Why the hell? That's what every time they want to hide something, they just, man, incinerate them bitches. Like it never happened. That don't change the facts. It still happened, man.
Some documents survived, and in 1975, the Church Committee, a Senate investigation, exposed MK Ultra to the world. Americans were horrified. Their own government had drugged, tortured, and manipulated its own citizens. All in secret. The program officially ended in the early 1970s, but its shadow still looms large. Conspiracy theorists point to MK Ultra whenever strange government projects or mass events occur. And in popular...
Let me see something. They probably use majority black people too, man. Let's see. Did MK Ultra studies target black people?
According to Chacruna.net, the CIA project, MK Ultra, exploited people of color and other vulnerable groups to test the human limits of drugs like LSD for its use as a mind control agent.
I know it. I fucking know it. And people like to say, where are you playing victim? Nah, man. These motherfuckers dirty, man. In 1975, news emerged about CIA-sponsored research with LSD due to fears stemming from the Cold War that the Soviets had developed methods for mind control and that LSD could be used as a biochemical warfare. The CIA project MK Ultra was created to test the potential of LSD for mind control, brainwashing, and as a truth serum for interrogating spies. It was discovered that over 80 private and public universities, prisons, and hospitals conducted LSD experiments on civilians, prisoners, and patients with and without knowledge that research funds were obtained through the CIA MK Ultra program. Although evidence of the project MK Ultra was ordered to be destroyed by CIA Director Richard Helms, some records survived and were illuminated during U.S. Senate hearings, select committees on intelligence and committees on human resources 1977, as well as through scientific publications with connection to MK Ultra. While one might assume such a nefarious project would be kept top secret, the products of this research were published in publicly accessible, peer-reviewed scientific journals. Our research team at the University of Ottawa explained 49 such research articles published from 1950s to the 1970s that administered psychedelics to test subjects, including LSD, DMT, muscarine, psilocybin, and THC. We sought to understand how and to what extent people of color and other vulnerable groups were exploited during the first wave of the psychedelic research in the United States. Specifically, we examined the race and ethnicity of participants, the recruitment strategies, study methodology, and potential dangers across the selected studies, and we uncovered a recurring theme surrounding safety and the ethics that gave us pause. Overall, we found that research conducted brutal experiments on prisoners and people with psychotic disorders, in which they gave participants extremely high doses of psychedelics for too often and for far too long. Across all the studies analyzed, there were issues surrounding use of incarcerated population, coercive incentives, unsafe doses, questionable scientific merit, and oppressive settings. Overall, we found that the research conducted brutal experiments on prisoners and people with psychotic disorders, in which they gave participants extremely high doses of psychedelics. Almost 30% of the studies reported using people of color. Half of the studies used incarcerated participants, and 15% used participants with psychotic disorders. Further, over 3/4 of the studies used a high-risk dosing schedule, and just under 90% of the studies had at least one ethical violation. Although roughly 30% of the examined studies reported people of color, mostly black men, as well as a few Puerto Rican men, many did not report the race or the ethnicity of the participant. However, we investigated the recruitment sites used, and we found that people of color, predominantly black Americans, were significantly overrepresented in a prison from which participants were recruited. One of these sites was the Addiction Research Center in Lexington, Kentucky. Y'all can't even see that shit. Why y'all say y'all couldn't see it? Worse, the prisoners at ARC were offered heroin as payment for participation. Yo, these people is fucking crazy. In research studies, which they could use after the study or bank for later. This was a prison built for doing research on inmates. Worse, the prisoners at ARC were offered heroin as payment for participating in research studies, which they could use. I just read that. This was unquestionably unethical, but it was also particularly coercive and exploitative. Considering the fact that prisoners at RAC were often there for drug-related offenses, researchers therefore given heroin to prisoners who also may have been struggling with substance use disorder. In other studies, black participants were given more than double the dose of LSD compared to white participants. And white participants endured 8 days of LSD administration, while black participants endured chronic LSD administration for up to 85 days. Jesus Christ, yo, these motherfuckers. And people wonder why. The fuck out of here, man. Oh, you playing victim? Nah, man. I know it. I didn't even. I knew it. They always want to fucking run tests on fucking black people. That's what the Tuskegee experiment was. Ran that shit on black people. That shit crazy. Some of the studies that did report the participants' race also documented treating the participants of color worse than white participants. For example, despite knowledge of the importance of set and settings, in one study, the research reported that white participants who were living freely were given LSD in the researcher's home under conditions designed to reduce anxiety, whereas the participants of color who were prisoners were given LSD in a prison ward in which comfort or anxiety were not considerations. In another study, black participants were given more than double the dose. We already saying that. Why they keep repeating shit? In many cases, the prisoners did not even know what they were given. One prisoner, who was essentially being tortured, asked many times to leave the experiment but was forced to stay. In another study, a chronically ill black participant was described to be of low intelligence with only 2 years of education and an impoverished socioeconomic background. The researchers that go on to describe him as if he were an animal. They reported that he had a wild, frightened look and became quiet and no longer required restraints, which had been necessary during a previous experiment. In another experiment, with respect to one of the incarcerated black participants, the researchers reported after recovery from this severe reaction, the patients wished to drop out of the experiment, but after considerable persuasion, agreed to continue. He was started at 50 milligrams LSD once daily, and the dose was increased until he again received 180 milligrams of LSD. Yeah, it's fucking crazy. Mm-mm-mm.
Culture, MK Ultra pops up in everything from movies like The Manchurian Candidate to TV shows like Stranger Things. Random facts. Some MK Ultra experiments were carried out on prisoners who were promised reduced
Yeah, I heard
sentences,
about that.
but many never fully recovered. Unwitting civilians in bars, universities, and hospitals were dosed with LSD just to see how they'd react. The CIA even tested whether electromagnetic waves could alter moods or behavior. Rock legend Ken Kesey, author of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, was a volunteer in MK Ultra LSD trials. He later became a leader of the 1960s counterculture movement. Even though the program ended, some argue its spirit lived on in later covert projects. Conclusion. So, what is Project MK Ultra? It was the CIA's attempt to turn science fiction into reality, to bend, break, and rebuild the human mind. Instead, it left a trail of ruined lives, unanswered questions, and the lingering fear of what governments do in the shadows. If you also liked learning random things, subscribe. You have found your happy place.
Alright, so look. So these files were supposed to be released. And let me show y'all what happened. Show y'all what happened.
She came to us with some pretty shocking breaking news. It's about files pertaining to the assassination of JFK and MK Ultra, which was the CIA's human experimentation program. We have learned since our interview with Luna, the CIA marched into the National Reconnaissance Office warehouse in the middle of the night and took files under the jurisdiction of DNI Tulsi Gabbard. It was not a raid, and it did not happen today, but it did happen, and the files were not given back.
We were actually just notified that the CIA went in and took documents out of ODNI, multiple boxes pertaining to the JFK files as well as MK Ultra. The reason why this is troubling is there was an executive order that the president had directed the full declassification of JFK, but then also to the MK Ultra files, the CIA famously has said that, all documents were released and other documents had been destroyed. So these are allegedly those documents that apparently never existed, and so very troubling. I did just talk to Chairman Comer, and we are sending in the next hour or so a preservation of documents request to the CIA. I have calls into the White House, to the director of the CIA himself, and so obviously as this develops, we'll keep everyone up to date, but strange times we're living in, that's for sure.
Does the CIA have jurisdiction to go into Gabbard's office like that and take documentation?
Well, the CIA does not have jurisdiction to work against an executive order by the president. And so the fact that someone did this when the president is out of country, from what I gather, I believe that Director Radcliffe is with him.
Who sanctioned this, right? Like, if Donald Trump, come on, this don't make sense. That man made an executive order for these documents to get released, and the CIA took them bitches. We living in a wild time in the United States, right? That is fucking crazy. Living in a wild fucking time. They fucking raided our office and took the fucking and took the goddamn.
So, what is Project MK Ultra?
Just watch
Imagine what.
It's not what I clicked. Can't click that. Yeah, I need to get a. I click this. Yeah, but Trump had to known about this. Well, I don't know. That nigga probably ain't even running the fucking country. Who the fuck knows? Fuck knows. What's up, Shalon the baby? That. I want to hear people talking about it. CIA steals MK Ultra documents. All right, News Nation. Oh yeah, man, these motherfuckers crazy, bro. And niggas want to be working with the feds.
CIA whistleblower testified that the U.S. intelligence covered up information that pointed to a lab leak. That's right, it wasn't bat soup that caused the whole world to lock down. Oh,
so they had a snitch that testified in front of Congress recently. That's how all this information came out. So it wouldn't even have came out if it wasn't for your snitching ass.
It was the government and a reckless and experimental lab. in Wuhan, China. So why would our own intelligence community cover up for China at the expense of American lives? Earlier today, I spoke with Florida Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna to see what she had to say. But first, she came to us with some pretty shocking breaking news. It's about files pertaining to the assassination of JFK and MK Ultra, which was the CIA's human experimentation program. We have learned since our interview with Luna, the CIA marched into the National Reconnaissance Office warehouse in the middle of the night and took files under the jurisdiction of DNI Tulsi Gabbard. It was not a raid, and it did not happen today, but it did happen, and the files were not given back. Take a listen to my interview with Congressman Luna when we first heard the news. Before we get to the CIA whistleblower about the COVID-19 pandemic and Dr. Anthony Fauci's role in the cover-up, you also have some news coming out of the CIA that you'd like to share.
Yeah, so we were actually just notified that the CIA went in and took documents out of ODNI, multiple boxes pertaining to the JFK files as well as MK Ultra. The reason why this is troubling is there was an executive order that the president had directed the full declassification of JFK, but then also to the MK Ultra files. The CIA famously has said that, all documents were released and other documents had been destroyed. So these are allegedly those documents that apparently never existed, and so very troubling. I did just talk to Chairman Comer, and we are sending in the next hour or so a preservation of documents request to the CIA. I have calls into the White House to the director of the CIA himself, and so obviously as this develops we'll keep everyone up to date, but strange times we're living in, that's for sure.
Does the CIA have jurisdiction to go into Gabbard's office like that and take documentation?
Well, the CIA does not have jurisdiction to work against an executive order by the president. And so the fact that someone did this when the president is out of country, from what I gather, I believe that Director Radcliffe is with him. And so this seems like it was an internal coup, to be honest.
Okay, well, we will certainly be watching that. Thank you for sharing. Also today, we saw testimony from a CIA whistleblower. Let's listen to what he had to say and get your response.
Public health policy would have been very different had the American public been made aware that a virus from a lab in China was going to serve as the foundation for an emergency use authorization mRNA products being mandated by the former administration.
So, Congresswoman, I'm grateful for the transparency. It's very difficult to come out as a whistleblower because you face consequences, retaliation, which we'll get to in just a second. But we've known for many years that Dr. Fauci indeed covered up the pandemic for obvious reasons. He was funding gain-of-function research illegally at the Wuhan lab. It got out of control. They Frankensteined a virus and it ended up killing millions of people and shutting down the world and damaging future generations in terms of education. The consequences are very far-reaching. There's no new news on the front that Fauci covered this up, but he can't really face that many consequences because Joe Biden gave him a pardon.
I think what Dr. Fauci did was on the level of human rights abuses and violations, and there is still a question on whether or not Joe Biden physically signed that pardon. We know that on our investigations on House oversight, many of the pardons exact or identical matches with signatures, meaning that it's not possible unless it's done by something called AutoPen. I think that that's something that Todd Blanche needs to bring charges on. He is the acting attorney general now, and that's something that he can do, or at least look at these pardons as null and void if they were not exactly signed by the president. To my knowledge, one of the few that are legitimate are the ones on Hunter Biden, but the other ones are called to question as whether or not they were actually authorized by the president himself. And so I think as we move forward and as this continues to come out, the American people know what happened, even people that not necessarily are conservative or Republican, see what happened with COVID-19, and it's a lesson that we can all learn from, but there are very real human rights abuses that Dr. Fauci committed, and he should be held accountable. He should be in jail.
And it's a shame that Democrats refused to show up to this hearing today to get to the bottom of what exactly happened, to hold people accountable for exactly the reasons you just laid out. But Erdman, who's a whistleblower, spoke today about retaliation within the CIA. This is what he said.
The analysts that supported the 2023 lab leak conclusion took every administrative measure available to them to address their deep concerns regarding the analytic integrity of their finished intelligence. CIA managers retaliated against them
And we also know that bribes were offered from Fauci to scientists to change their opinions as well. But based on what you told me at the beginning of this conversation with the CIA and this testimony from the whistleblower today, it seems there's a major problem going on inside the agency with
politicized. If you notice, we haven't seen none of them motherfuckers since that shit. Bill Gates then disappeared off the face of the earth. Fauci then disappeared off the face of the earth. That's how you know all that shit was a play, man. Where they go? That nigga Fauci was on TV 24/7. That nigga just faded to the background. It's like that nigga ain't never even exist. Is Dr. Fauci even real? Like, is he a real human? I'm starting not to know because I ain't seen him in years. Seen his ass a lot from 2019 to 2021.
Intelligence and making these decisions for political purposes rather than just following the intelligence and the facts where they may lead.
Oh, most certainly. Exactly what you just laid out is also known as the deep state, and there's a flush that needs to occur at the agency. I like Director Radcliffe. He's a great man. He's been doing a great job, but he is one man, and there needs to be massive instrumental changes and shakeups at the agency. I think the deputy director of the CIA needs to be backing Radcliffe up on those changes. But what I will tell you today, and just hearing what I heard about the overt efforts to undermine the president's executive order, specifically pertaining to JFK, or I don't know, Congress's order to release and request the MLK or the MK Ultra files, all of that should tell you everything you need to know about the agency, and that it still operates, so it seems, out of the purview and jurisdiction of the executive branch, of the congressional branch, and that is unacceptable, of the legislative branch, excuse me, and it's unacceptable. And so, as you saw, Comer is working on that subpoena with me. We will send it in the morning if we don't hear back from the CIA. But either which way, we will find out who went into Tulsi's office and took those files. If this person, and this is not a threat, this is going to happen. If those files are not returned within the next 24 hours, you will be called, your faces will be made public in front of the entire American people. All of Congress will see it, and we will hold you accountable for going against a direct executive order by the president and interfering with a congressional investigation. So return the files, do not destroy documents. You will get a preservation of documents notice for Congress, and any member of the CIA that engages in undermining this investigation will be held criminally accountable. And I'm also waiting for a call back from Todd Blanche, the acting attorney general. We are not playing games with you. Return the documents.
All right. Well, Congresswoman Anna Polina Luna, great to see you. Thank you for joining us as always. Talk to you soon.
Thanks.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.
I tried a ton of AI work tools. Then I tried Monday.com. Game over. Monday.com is super easy to use and knows how to do AI right. I use it for insights and action suggestions constantly, especially on those back-to-back meeting days. And my team used Monday Sidekick to work up all kinds of marketing content for the different platforms. So stuff that takes my team hours is now done before they even open their laptop. All these AI features are built directly into Monday.com and actually use our real data. With Monday.com, AI isn't some over-promising future. It's here.
So I wanted to talk about this yesterday, but I ain't get a chance. Because yesterday, we was on live entirely too long yesterday. Like, that was not the plan. I think we did about 5 hours on live. But Jake Paul was upset behind the Drewski Black Erica Kirk shit. So he's talking about he wanted to do blackface. And I think we discussed this before. You understand? But WACKA Flocka recently had a chance to talk to Jake Paul about his decision on blackface. And listen to this conversation.
On aliens.
Because I don't think WACKA Flocka really nailed it like how he should have. Even though he did, you know, holler at him about it. But I'm really explaining, yo, what's the historical reason, or the historical, what blackface was historically. Because Jake Paul don't get it. And anybody that sides with Jake Paul also don't get it. Here you go, right here. All right. Come on, y'all. They just went to the wrong. My internet be acting stupid. Oh, here you go.
No. I'm completely fine to have the conversation. No, I do. I would love to. No, what's the issue? If Drewski, first of all, comedy should be allowed in the world, right? Do you believe in that? Do you believe in comedy? Okay.
So, but that's an oxymoron. That's a fully you said comedy is accepted because blackface shit is not comedy. It's disrespectful to the culture of people that got dark skin.
So do you think whiteface is disrespectful?
Whiteface, white chick's a movie. How is it disrespectful?
I don't think it's disrespectful. I think it's funny. I think we should all be able to. And no, but this is exactly my point, though. This is exactly my point, though. Is that it's a double standard. Everyone should be able to make fun of everyone.
You gotta understand who you are and the volume and depth of what your words can do and what they mean. Respectfully. But I've seen you. I talked to you. I know people that know you. I know you ain't know how deep that word was. Because you got niggas like me, brother, that just want to get at you. People like that. You know better than a nigga with a cape on his head. So that's basically what you said, like what you stand for. You just don't know that. Now, what you stood up for,
I don't understand what you're saying.
All right, let me break it. The fact that I just said all this and you didn't understand it, you don't even know the history behind the comments you made. It was just, it's not like I'm being serious. I want to educate you, bro, because y'all ever some shit you making jokes about, bro, folks' grandmama experienced that torture in it. You know what I'm saying, bro? It's like, ain't nobody experienced torture with no white face. Blackface?
Yeah, but I think, but again, we can go into like all of this. Like, people are oppressed, different, races, all of this stuff. And people should be able to make fun of it. Like, if I'm Jewish, bro, and people should be able to make fun of that, no matter what happened or what people went through.
Nah, people can't make fun of Jewish, Muslims, Christians, and that. Because I come from an era where you don't disrespect religion. You don't even talk about it. It's respect.
Yeah, so I think you're a more serious guy.
I'm not.
And I'm a more like, let's all make fun of each other and be bros. I'm friends with blacks, whites, purples, Mexicans, all of the above, girls, boys, Indians, all of that. So I think you're like really serious. You're really serious. You're a serious guy. And you're like, I don't want to make fun of anybody. I'm the opposite. Like, let's all make fun of each other. Let's all roast each other.
Now that's just how. But WACKA, how am I serious? You don't even know me if you said I'm serious. And I ain't got nothing about being Jewish or black or this. I'm not talking about race. Bro, I don't care about this shit, what you saying. That don't got nothing to do with what you talking about. Man, I'm not serious.
You guys see how politics are just?
Yeah. No, this not politics. This education. This how I grew up. Like, when I make jokes how he did, the difference between him is I got punished for that shit. Like, hey, WACKA, why you out here running your mouth doing, nigga, you know, this happened with this. You don't make fun of white like this, because this, they educated me. I seem serious because education is serious, kid. Like, I don't want you to be blindsided somewhere about it. You know what I'm saying? We all want to be bros. Nigga, I joke with everybody. My friends are like a bag of Skittles. We from every nationality, every color, every race. But it's not about everybody being oppressed. It's about you acknowledging oppression with everyone, because God gave you a status to be somewhere to talk with empathy, with morality, with integrity. So basically what I'm telling you is they got history behind that. Like, bro, like real deal history, bro. Like I'm seeing here because I did some shit in Amsterdam when people made face. I never knew what blackface was, so I went out the country. And I watched people dress up with black faces on their face, bro. That shit made me mad as fuck in Amsterdam because they was mocking us. But then that shit.
Yeah, I think if they're mocking, then that's one thing. If it's like comedy, that's why I love comedians, is because they can get away with like saying and making fun of anyone or anything. And that's why I said I love Drewski's skit. And by the way, I'm a Republican and I'm white, and I think you should make fun of white Republicans who are.
You're going too deep. What you're doing is gaining traction. Like, are you serious? I'm not doing it. You're all boom. Well, I'm just telling you. It's not about Drewski. It's not about nothing. It's you. I ain't have to talk to you, bro. Like, I'm sorry. I'm just a real nigga. I'm sorry that cameras is there, bro. I never did this in my life. It's my first time. But when I'm
first time, what?
Ever been on a live stream.
Saying it's my first live stream.
I literally did go because my partner, I worked out this motherfucker. I didn't know how deep it was going to be.
But did it go viral the way you did?
Nah, you know what would have been funny?
Viral, and I think it's good that we're having this.
Nah, I don't even know how viral it is. I just seen them.
I want to say, because I know you and we met briefly and you.
Can I land my plane? Can I just land my plane? Would it be funny for you, bro?
So WACKA did this on live stream. This is his whole reason for me even going up that bitch. she tried to intervene. And I'm glad WACKA caught that and got back to the topic.
Bro, I swear to God, bro, you'd have killed anybody with it. It just came out and did a fat ass skit being Drewski. Mocking him, not mocking the color of.
No, I was gonna mock Kamala Harris.
But that's what I'm just talking. Well, it don't matter. I'm not saying none of that. That's your business, bro. But you should. I just want you to know. Remember, I wish you heard the cancer analogy.
Kamala Harris not even black.
But the blackface shit I'm talking about. Fuck Drewski, respectfully. Fuck Shawty White. All that. I ain't talking about you. Just that wasn't the joke, the pin to him. It just made, I'm telling you, bro. Trust me, bro. I'm in areas where folks feel the same. I'm like, hell no, I know he ain't know. I know you ain't know how deep it was, bro. I don't know. That's all. But you're right. You was right for how you laughed and everything. But it shouldn't have added that to it. That ain't, because since you said you Jewish, right? So,
yeah.
I could have came in here, respectfully, I say this, bro. Anything, what's like bad that did happen in the Jewish for the culture of how you? No, just think of one seriously. So, in the Holocaust.
It's not a laughing matter.
Bro, but I'm just saying, like, it's very obvious.
Look,
it's so obvious.
It's not a laughing matter.
It's so obvious. No, we ain't saying this. He just proved my point. You see how he just said it's not a laughing matter? That's as serious as blackface. It's just that wasn't a laughing matter. So meaning, let's say you came out with Kamala Harris and I came out with a joke like, oh, I'm in the Holocaust. This is Jake Paul. And people are like, that shit ain't funny, bro. That's how it was. But since we black, it ain't that serious. But for the people of us, it's serious, bro.
You know what's crazy though? That
I fuck with y'all. I just don't get it fucked up. Don't get it twisted.
But it's crazy. You can do this and not.
I'm a grown ass man
because all the brands he owns. So it's like it's
You know, but it's not about doing. It's not about doing something. I think
this
it's
is big.
no. This is
I'm just a grown ass man.
No, and this is exactly what I wanted to say and bring up, to have these uncomfortable conversations that I think are interesting, where we can learn from each other. The problem in today's society is that no one wants to like step across the line or say anything or have uncomfortable conversations.
I ain't talking like this. I'm not a what if kind of guy. Because where I'm from, you gotta know exactly who and what you're talking about. So what I'm just telling you, it's anything uncomfortable is you not knowing what you're talking about. Everything I'm talking about, I'm comfortable with.
I'm talking about for the rest of the world who aren't comfortable with these conversations.
To me, I'm telling you, see, now you get to meet WACKA in real life.
What, is that your real name?
Joaquin WACKA, my grandma called me.
You trying to be funny.
I just didn't know.
I'm just telling you, like I didn't know what you. We learning, kid. Don't worry, I don't expect nobody to know. Because y'all know, they know Superman. It's Clark Kent talking. The only thing I'm just trying to tell you is you just need to know the depth of what you're doing, and that's it, bro. You bigger than Jake Paul. You finna be somebody else. I'm just telling you, I'm bigger than Hard in the Paint. You look at a nigga got hella real estate, hella company. I see him brag about the money too. Like, but who gives a fuck? But you do it because that's who you are. I'm just saying, be true to you. Just be mindful. You got fans, bro, that don't got a voice as loud as people that other got voices. And they fuck with you. And that right there kind of hurt them. That ain't stopping from being your fan. That's just, man, be like, damn, bro, hell no. Just being honest. Because as a grown man, I was a fan of what you created with your boxing, how you did it, how people mocked the people laughed. But you took that joke into a standing ovation to a real comedy show that went global. That's respect. You're a businessman. You don't got to line yourself with nobody. Because you did what you had to do. I'm just letting it be known. Like, I respect you, bro. You don't got to know me. You don't got to know my name. I fuck with you, your little brother did. Man to man.
All right, look, right. Yo, what Jake Paul needs to understand is the reason why blackface isn't funny and it's not a joke is because back when they was doing blackface, they wasn't only just mocking black people. They was mocking black people and at the same time not allowing black people into the entertainment business. You understand what I'm saying? So it was white men with basically mimicking or mocking or making fun of black people, but at the same time wasn't employing black people. That's why blackface is frowned upon. That's why it's not funny. Because it's like, if y'all want to put us in these movies, use us. But no, they didn't want to use us. You understand? They wanted to use us, use our likeness, but not us. And they did it in a demonstrative way. And they did it in a way that made us look unintelligent. When you go back and look at a lot of them older movies and they got them people in blackface show, they fucking buffoons. They dancing and jumping around and can't speak proper English. And no, yo, that's why it was always made to be disrespectful. Excuse me. And whiteface never had that historical context added to it. It never was viewed that way. It was always viewed in a laughing, joking manner. But blackface is totally different, yo, because y'all trying to mimic our people, trying to make fun of our people, but at the same time, wasn't trying to employ our people. That was the fucked up thing about blackface, y'all. That's the historical context that goes behind blackface. That's why it's not funny. It's not a joke. It's not comedy. It's just disrespect. You know they say how you start is how you finish. It was always disrespect. It was disrespect in the motherfucking in the 40s and 30s, and it'll be disrespect now. You feel me? Shit is not funny. And I think that's the point WACKA was trying to make. Not so much of, the older people that was around and the disrespect. It's the historical context behind it, man. Like, how you going not want us in your movies, but want us in your movies? You understand what I'm saying? You don't want us in your movies. You're gonna play us, but you're not playing us. You're playing your stereotype of us. You're playing what you want us to be looked at on the screen to the world, but you're doing it. Nah, man, fuck out of here, man. They part dumb as shit, yo. But I gotta go work tomorrow. I ain't gonna be live long. I just wanted to touch on that MK Ultra shit because I thought that was crazy. You feel me? Yeah, man. Salute to Robert Downey Jr., man. Yeah, you go back there, man. You go back, and I think we did this on one of our other videos. You go back and look at how they was depicting black people. Like, some of them couldn't even speak English. I mean, like, they made us look like we was just stupid as a motherfucker. We wasn't intelligent enough to play a role. Nah, man, fuck out of here, Jake Paul, you dumbass. And salute to WACKA, man. I think he could have did a better job explaining it, but for the most part, I think he attempted to get his point across. Excuse me. Yeah, he attempted to get his point across. Hopefully, Jake Paul listened and realized it's not the same. It's not funny. It's not a joke. It's disrespectful. It's disrespectful, man. It's like, they trying to change words. And you know who doing it. You got motherfuckers going around calling people the N-word. You got Sneeko, punk ass nigga Sneeko, talking about how we giving words power. Like, yo, what the fuck you mean? Words got meaning, my nigga. You can't just take away the years of what this word actually meant, or the years of what blackface meant to fit your liking just when you want to. No, yo, fuck no, that shit don't go like that, man. It don't go like that. Yo, but make sure you hit that like button, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. It's another day keeping you news. And I'm out.